The weight of morning. That morning, the first rays of sunlight slipped through the corrugated metal roof of the vast factory. The air was thick with the smell of heated plastic and the rhythmic pulse of machines. James appeared with his usual measured seriousness. His black shirt was neatly pressed, his polished shoes reflecting the harsh light above, and every step he took echoed firmly against the damp green concrete floor. The factory was alive. The rumbling of machines, the rolling of enormous fabric reels across steel shafts, hurried exchanges between workers, all blending into an industrial rhythm that was urgent, yet steady. James moved deeper inside, stopping at the storage area. Rolls of fabric, white, green, and red, towered above him. He bent to inspect them, fingertips brushing over the intact protective wrap, eyes narrowing at the numbered tags neatly affixed. From his pocket, he pulled out a phone. The datasheet opened quickly: stock levels, weekly intake, daily usage. Every figure was checked against reality. After a few minutes, he nodded slightly, satisfied. The warehouse was in order. But James did not stop there. The quiet commander. He walked through each production section, his sharp eyes observing every corner. Were safety rules being followed? Were fabric rolls properly stacked? Were the systems running smoothly? In the calendaring area, rolls of vivid orange and crisp white fabric wound tightly under careful supervision. James stood still, his hands clasped behind his back, scanning every detail. Occasionally, he stepped closer, offering a few short but firm words. James was never one for long speeches. Yet his instructions were decisive. He pointed out minor flaws, demanded adjustments to material placement for better flow. To him, even the smallest detail was a vital link in the chain. At the packaging area, he leaned down, tapping the cardboard tubes meant for rolling fabric, testing their sturdiness before approving. Across from him, finished rolls wrapped neatly for shipment stood in orderly rows. James's gaze traced each one. None would leave without meeting his standards. Overhead beams cut down through the industrial haze, casting James in stark light. Calm, commanding, unyielding in precision. By the time he finished his inspection, every aspect, raw material, production, packaging, had been aligned with order. The workshop thrummed with disciplined energy. And at its center stood James, the silent commander. A father's expectations. James stepped out from the roar of machines. His eyes lifted toward the office upstairs, where his father worked. The office was a stark contrast, quiet, papers stacked, laptops open. His father, stern-faced, weathered by years of struggle, sat surrounded by documents and official seals. James entered, knocked lightly, and sat down. His voice was steady. "Father, everything in the factory is under control." Production is smooth. Workers are trained. I think it's time I arrange my flight back to Vietnam. My company there still needs me. I cannot let it linger. His father looked up, eyes firm, contemplative. Silence stretched before he spoke. My son, I know you have your own dreams. But this company, I built it brick by brick, real by real. Now I want you to stay, to strengthen it. That is your duty to the family. James froze. He understood the weight of those words. His father's devotion, his lifelong sacrifice. He did not want to defy him. Yet deep inside, a quiet storm raged. I understand, father, he replied softly. The conversation ended with silence. Back at his own office, James sat with his chin in hand, papers blurring before his eyes. His thoughts drifted elsewhere, to Too Deep. Her gentle eyes, the old teapot they once shared. And the vow he had whispered, I will come back to you as soon as I can. The vow weighed on him, a source of strength, and a burden against his father's wishes. Between responsibility and love, his heart stretched thin. The village morning. In the mountains, mist still clung to treetops. Inside a humble house with a corrugated roof, Too Deep and the little girl were tidying up. The house was modest, yet warm. Behind it, a small garden thrived, chickens bustling noisily beneath grapefruit trees. The child, lively and quick, carried a basket of grain, scattering it joyfully while the chickens clucked and flapped. By the outdoor water tank, Too Deep bent over a red basin, scrubbing clothes. Cool water splashed against her skin as birds chirped in the distance. Each rinse brought memories. James's shirts once hanging in the yard, evenings they worked side by side. A faint smile crossed her lips, though her eyes betrayed longing. When the chores ended, she rinsed her hands and called the girl over. With tender care, she washed the child's hands and feet, each motion thoughtful, filled with quiet affection. The girl giggled brightly, and laughter echoed across the yard. They sat at a small bamboo table beneath a tree, an old ceramic teapot steaming between them. The little girl chattered about school and friends. Too Deep listened, occasionally brushing her hair back with gentle hands. Sunlight streamed through leaves, scattering golden patches across the uneven brick floor. The simplicity of the scene held a quiet beauty, the weight of waiting. As the girl spoke, Too Deep's gaze lifted skyward. A hollow ache pressed in her chest. Memories of James surfaced, his steady eyes, his quiet smile, the tender evenings under the eaves, dreaming together. Those moments had been her comfort. Now, in his absence, they lingered like bittersweet echoes. She sighed softly, hiding sorrow from the child. Deep down, she longed for James's return. But she knew his burdens, his father, his family legacy abroad. She did not want her love to become his struggle. So she whispered silently to herself, "As long as he remembers me, as long as he keeps his promise, I will wait." The girl tugged at her arm with a playful question, pulling her back. Smiling, Diep embraced her, listening to the heartbeat racing against her chest. In that moment, surrounded by laughter, rustling leaves, and chickens clucking, Diep felt fragile but precious peace. The old teapot sent up its wisp of steam. Morning carried on gently, yet in her heart, James's image remained vivid, her love burning quietly like a flame that refused to die. Life lessons from their story. Duty versus love. James stands torn between filial duty and personal love. His struggle is a reminder that family legacies and individual happiness often collide, and that true strength lies in choosing with integrity. The beauty of simplicity. Diep's life, though marked by hardship, reveals the quiet richness of humble routines. Laughter with a child, the sound of chickens, the warmth of tea under a tree. Promises and waiting. Promises, once made, become anchors for those who wait. Diep's silent patience is not weakness, it is strength born of faith. Love that endures. Their story shows that love does not vanish in absence. It lingers like a flame, fragile yet unyielding, capable of surviving time and distance.